Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Ectohead. Doesn't it feel like we're in a race to the end? A terrifying race to global industrial destruction, AI dystopia, and dare I say, World War III? But wait! Someone else has entered the race. Coming up on the inside is disclosure, and not a moment too soon. So, on the one hand, we're presented with military and private business interests, ploughing on with their respective agendas, totally untouchable by any normal means, and we, the people of this planet, trying to get on with our lives under the daily weight of the mainstream media and the dire message it collectively whispers in our ears, are supposed to bear this outrageous practice and be happy about it. But on the face of it, this isn't the perfect scenario I had hoped for in the 61st year of my life on this planet. But unfortunately, here we are. Death or disclosure. It's a catchy phrase, and one that illustrates our absurd situation perfectly. And in the modern age of the 21st century, the question on the truth of UFOs, their occupants, and their origins isn't, as one might have thought, the most ridiculous thing happening on the planet right now. Trump has, with a proclamation and one assumes the brandishing of one of those incredibly large White House pens, decreed that whistleblowers need no longer fear their NDAs or any other agreement or pressure that they may have been put under to keep them from disclosing their respective truths in the matter. Right then, that's done and dusted. No? Anyone? Where are all the whistleblowers? Why aren't they banging down the doors of Congress? Well, I'll tell you why. These things are never that simple. And as the doomsday clock is being reluctantly eyed by those in the know, and the world feels like it's on the precipice of collapse, bureaucracy decides it needs a safety net for the whistleblowers, and doubtless will take its sweet time about it. But do we have time? The answer to that question is no. Currently, legislators are defining the parameters that will provide a framework for individuals to disclose free from threat and official reprisals. The secret is literally dying to be born, and maybe a month or 2 or 3 down the line, Congress will triumphantly announce that all whistleblowers can now tell their truth, just in time for the last greatest war. And I'm not kidding. Things are bad, and whereas caution is always advisable when commenting on such weighty matters as World War III, open eyes and a willingness to accept what is plainly observable is also required, and never more so than in the field of ufology. These are urgent matters because disclosure will give us what no amount of sabotage diplomacy can: a pause in the doomed trajectory that those in power have set us all on. There's this old sentence that ufology has had to deal with over the years.
If UFOs are real, why don't they land on the White House lawn?
It's a deceitful collection of words chosen to distill the subject down into a no-win scenario, a weird no-sum game. But the larger point stands. Where are they? Well, they're everywhere. And, as evidenced by the increasing numbers of people who, informed by the current push on disclosure, are having the UFO subject subconsciously planted in their psyches, are now somehow primed, and more footage is coming to light. Daily, people are filming genuinely odd floating objects. The internet is evidence of this. The most engaging and endearing aspect of this citizen-led exposure is not just that they film objects in the sky, but that their reactions are quite appropriate and comforting. They display without fear, in that moment of witnessing, all their dismay, uncertainty, and ultimately, their humanity. But what about fakes? What about AI? Sure, they're out there, and we must each rely on our own good offices to determine for ourselves how comfortable we are with what's presented. Be wary, be sceptical, but don't be a denier of what is plainly happening around the globe, be it UFOs or politics. Unfortunately, but not unexpectedly, man has failed. He has failed so comprehensively that the world is a mess, and ufology a subject so completely ridiculed and discredited over the last 70 years or so, is emerging as the saviour of humanity. The Sol Foundation is at the centre of collating and disseminating all the information on the UFO subject, new and old, the nuts and bolts as well as the woo. It's all in there, and it needs to be, if we're ever going to understand that our minds and spirits are as much a part of this subject as our footage of craft and our experiences. Now, I'm aware that what I said about ufology being the saviour of humanity is a bold statement. But look around you. All the honest politicians have been silenced or sidelined, and there isn't, as far as I can see, a horde of diplomats storming the various political palaces of the world demanding peace in our name. And until Klaatu shows up with Gort, then we're kind of stuck. You know, I always hoped benevolent aliens would come down from the stars and save humanity. But I was wrong. Oh, not about aliens saving humanity, rather the way in which it would happen. There's not going to be a landing on the White House lawn. The aliens, you see, aren't that concerned about us. Free will is a thing, and if we fuck this up for ourselves, then what's the alien for come see, come sa? This whole idea of human ascension is going to come down to us and us alone. As so often happens, things creep up on you, unexpected like. And Trump's declaration that whistleblowers need not fear their NDAs has given us the people, specifically the people who have witnessed extraordinary things, the freedom to stand on their testimony, the sword of Damocles removed from above them. No, the aliens aren't going to save us. We're going to save us. And how are we going to do this? By using the apparent abundance of evidence of aliens on this planet that appears to span millennia. But the way still isn't clear. There are still many obstacles. Maybe only after the existence of an otherworldly presence here on Earth is confirmed to us officially, globally, will the collective view change, and in doing so alter our global vibration, sending waves of acceptance out into the ether where intelligences already painfully familiar with our flawed existence can take the necessary steps. That leaves us in no doubt that we're part of something much bigger than our tiny destructive concerns. Despite what you might think of him, Colonel Philip J. Corso said that an alien once told him, "A new world awaits us if we can take it." And in that regard, he's not wrong. And as one powerful, small element of humanity seems hell-bent on our destruction, another element of humanity, intelligent and quietly fierce, is doing everything it can to head off Armageddon. The truth is, and always has been, we're going to have to save ourselves. No one is coming to do it for us. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. Do like, subscribe and share, it really would help the channel. And until next time, bye bye.